Good evening. This is ShallowCross Sports Network. With the show, we're going to talk about Tennessee, what's going on, big news going on with Tennessee Vols, and kind of preview the Mexico State game. And we're going to talk about how we think Josh Heupel is going to do as far as getting some of the young players in there to play in this game on tomorrow. With that said, let's get right on into it. Okay, yeah, the Tennessee Vols are playing New Mexico State, which should be a fairly easy game for them tomorrow. New Mexico State, I think this hasn't been a good year for New Mexico State, but I think they're gonna be overmatched tomorrow with Tennessee, and Tennessee will be able to play a lot of their players. Uh, Young players. And Josh Heupel usually doesn't play. He'll probably play Aguilar that whole first half. But what we really want to see is we want to see McIntyre get in there and play some, and let's see how he does. Now there's been a lot of talk about Aguilar staying another year. I really, like I said in the earlier show, I don't really believe Aguilar's going to stay another year. He's done enough to get a draft pick, to be a draft pick in the NFL. So I think that he may be a second or third day draft pick based on what he's done this year. And just depends on how, if he gets invited to the combine, what he does in the combine, whether he can be a second day or not, or a early third day, I mean. But I think he's going to get drafted because he's a good passer. There's some things he needs to polish. He's a pretty good athlete. There's some things he needs to polish up. But I really do believe he could play in the NFL. And so, with that said, it's a lot of rumors about Josh Heupel interviewing and being interested in the LSU job. There's a lot of money floating around there. A lot of rumors of money floating around there, especially with Jimmy Sexton. He's asking for so much money for these guys, and then he's asking for long-term deals for them also. I don't know if Jimmy Sexton is Heupel's agent or not, but I know he's Lane Kiffin's agent, and Lane Kiffin's been offered 13.5 by Florida. And I think he's been offered 14 by LSU. Okay, so money talks. We what would we do if we lost Josh Heupel? He's done so much for us since the days of Pruitt, Bush Jones, and Dooley. And so I want to win 10 ball games. Getting to the national championship is a big thing. Winning a nat is a big thing. But I just want to have good teams every year. 9, 10 win teams. 8-4 is not a bad year. But I want to have 9, 10 win seasons. And that's what you get with Josh Heupel. But eventually he's going to break through and win a national championship. So who would we get if we lost Josh Heupel? Well, Alex Golesh. Alex Golesh is the only guy that I think would be able to replace him and would be able to keep the offensive prowess going. And of course, recruiting. Heupel's a very good recruiter. He'd have to be able to keep some of the guys that's on the staff that Heupel has that's doing all the recruiting. Like Coach Gardner, he's doing a lot of good recruiting. Coach Chop, he's doing a lot of good recruiting. Coach Martinez, he's doing a lot of good recruiting. The offensive line coach, he's been with Heupel for a long time, but he's been doing a lot of good recruiting. Offensive coordinator's done some very, very good recruiting. Darrell Sims, the running back coach, he's done a lot of good recruiting so far. And then, of course, the wide receiver coach has done an exceptional job with recruiting. And one of the things is everyone's giving Heupel the credit for getting the kid away from LSU, but they got to look at the wide receiver coach too. He's actually down there with Heupel doing that. He's getting a lot of these receivers to come to Tennessee. And so, like I said, I don't even want to think about it because I don't want to lose Josh Heupel. He's done an excellent job. He's done a great job pulling us out of the dumps. We didn't have a full complement of scholarships. I don't think we still have a full complement of scholarships. Next year, I think they go to 105. And so, with that said, he worked with a lot of resources that other coaches had that he didn't have. And I was talking to someone tonight, and they was talking about Lane Kiffin and her the team a lot worse than Tennessee. Tennessee was in the dumps. Tennessee was real bad. Tennessee had under Pruitt, they had over 30-some people leave and go into transfer portal, or transfer out. So, and then you got the probationary scholarships. You had to give up, 10 scholarships every year, 20 scholarships every year, something like that. There's a ton of scholarships we had to give up, and we couldn't. So, and we were able to win 7-6, 9-3, or 9-4, 11-2, and 10-3. That's what Heupel's done. And that's the story. So that's one of the topics I want to talk about. And then, of course, new recruits. Got some new recruits that's committed to us. I think it's a big defensive lineman that's going to commit to us down the road here on the 20th, I believe. His last name is Fife. And he's a big kid out of Georgia, defensive tackle, 6'5", 295 pounds. And hopefully, if everything goes well, the key is we got to get these kids in the fold on the 3rd of December. They got to sign. They got into the 3rd all the way up to the 5th to sign with the Vols in order for us to forget about that commitment. Once that commitment is made, and then you sign on the dotted line, then you come into Tennessee. But right now, none of them, out of all the players we got in this class, none of them are coming to Tennessee until they sign. So last time I checked, I think Joel Aguilar was the second leading passer in the country. I think he's dropped all the way down to 6 with that, with missing that game, and so he's real close to 3,000 yards. I think he's like 27 something, and he can get there probably in this game tomorrow. But we really looking for some of the young players to play. I play Aguilar, get him to 3,000, and then Bishop is only a few yards away from he can get it with the next couple of ball games too. But yeah, so he don't really have to play as much as we can play Dwayne Morris and Baker, the younger running backs. But as far as Aguilar can get his about 200 some yards, and passing he can get his 3,000. As far as receivers, Brazel I think has 808 yards receiving. He may not get it in this game, but he can get it in the next game against Florida. He can get to 1,000. Staley's not that far from 1,000 also, and then of course Matthews is right behind him, not that far. So it's not out of the ordinary for Tennessee to have 3,000-yard receivers. And then with that said, with the new recruits coming still out there, I think we lost Legend Bay. Legend Bay was a big time recruit for us, and he would have gave us a lot in that slot position, and he'd be able to he was a Swiss Army knife, and he was going to be able to do a lot of things, run out of the backfield, run sweeps, catch those screens, sort of like Concepcion out there, and the other receiver they have out there at Texas A&M. They small guys, smallest in stature, maybe 5'11", 175 pounds, but they can fly. They have they're 4'2" guys easy. 4'3", 4'2", high 4'2", low 4'3" players, and so they were going to use Legend Bay in the same way. But like I say, recruiting is good with Heupel. Very excellent recruiting with Heupel. We basically got at least 4 5-stars in this class for 2026. You know, the kid from Utah, Sese, or whatever, the Moe Sese. You got the Tristan Keys kid. You got Ascenda, who's basically a 5-star, and then you got Faison Brandon. He's a 5-star. So that's 4 5-stars in this class. We can't let LSU take him. Tennessee's got to come up with the money. They'll come up with it and keep him here. But and we got him, and all that stuff talking about people need to be fired. That needs to stop. You need to look back and look at what has happened over the last 5 years. Look what he's done. Look where you were with those other 3 coaches. And of course, basketball, they picked up 3 recruits in the early signing period for basketball. And they're all 4-star players. I think one of the kids may be a 3-star guard, but he's a point guard out of Chicago. So Coach Barnes is doing an excellent job bringing in the talent for the Tennessee basketball program. And of course, the baseball coach, he's also doing the same thing. I think he's picked up at least 3 big-time recruits from the high school ranks in the last week or so. And of course, that's about it for the Vols. One of the things I want to touch on, I know, like I'm on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my list up. I don't have it. I'm gonna do my list of Tennessee players that's draft eligible, and then I'm gonna try to get my mock draft out here pretty soon for this upcoming draft. So hopefully I can have it out in December so you can get a preview of what's going to happen in this draft coming up. And of course we have a lot of guys that's going to be eligible for the draft. You got Dominic Bailey, you got Tyree West, you got Joseph, you got McCoy, you got the kid from that transferred in from Colorado, defensive back, and then you got offensive lineman. I think Delance Harris gonna probably go on and go to the pros. So it's quite a few. And then I think Turrentine, I think his time is up also. Colton Hood is Hood, McCoy, and Joseph. And on some draft boards are in the first round, their first day picks. And Gibson probably been right up there with him, but he's just a sophomore, so you'd look for him to be up there next year if he can come back healthy and be able to do what he did in the previous year. But that's where it stands as far as drafting. I'm gonna get that out. I'm gonna get all that stuff out so we can start talking about it. A lot of the sister teams, Vanderbilt, they doing pretty good in recruiting. Gonna do well in the transfer portal. I think Vanderbilt had Jared Curtis, who's a commitment to Georgia. They had him in. So that's going to be the key to Vanderbilt being successful, getting a good quarterback to replace Diego Pavia. But anyway, they're going to do okay in recruiting. Memphis is going to do okay in recruiting. Their coach is also being, as one of the names being tossed around for Arkansas. University of Memphis' coach, Silverfield. And then his name's also being tossed around in case Kiffin leaves and goes to Florida. Silverfield's going to probably be one of the big names they're going to come after for Mississippi. Ole Miss job. And then, of course, James Franklin, his name's still out there for Virginia Tech and Arkansas. And so that's one of the things going on with the coaching trees out there. Don't know what's going to happen with Florida State down the line. They could fire their coach at any day now or over the weekend. And, of course, now Deion Sanders out there in Colorado, one of the big news coming out of Colorado is that the athletic director that hired Deion, he is stepping down. I don't know if they're forcing him to step down, but he's stepping down. Anyway, but that's just some news on some of the other sister schools. Tennessee Tech undefeated, ranked number 6 in the FCS rankings. They play Kentucky tomorrow up in Lexington, so that's going to be a game to watch. And then, of course, the other big games to watch is the Alabama-Oklahoma game. That can be an elimination game for Oklahoma if they lose to Alabama. And then, of course, you got South Carolina playing. South Carolina, I don't know who they're playing, but I know it's a big game. And Georgia, I don't know who Georgia's playing either right now. But anyway, some big games on tomorrow. And they could have some implications on who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't. But as far as the Tennessee State schools, Tennessee State University, they down a couple of ball games. They're not having a good year, need players. And then, of course, Middle Tennessee's almost in the same shape. Middle Tennessee, I think, have won 2 games this year. I think Tennessee State's won 2 games. Austin Peay's having a pretty good year and could make the FCS playoffs. Just have to wait and see. I think they've dropped 3 games, but it looks like they could win out for the season and get into the playoffs. But anyway, with that said, just want to touch base on all the schools and touch base on the big boy, Tennessee, let you know about what's going on with Josh Heupel and everything like that. I'm really not worried. I think Tennessee can come up with the money and keep him. But that rumor's out there, and he's out there talking. And I was out here looking on Vol Wire, and one of the things they pointed out a running back by the name of Tyson Robinson. He named Tennessee in his top 10 schools. He's a running back for 2027. And Tennessee's had a lot of people name him in their top 10. And then, of course, the schedule for Tennessee for 2026. It's a preliminary schedule out there. And it's a tough schedule. They have to play Alabama. The only team that they don't have to play, it looks like, is Georgia. But they have to play 9 SEC teams. And all your cupcake teams, I should say, the easier games are all packaged up there in the first 3 weeks of the season. And then after that, you're hitting the road playing all these tough teams. I think Tennessee plays A&M and Texas. And then they got to play Alabama and Knoxville. A lot of the teams that they haven't been playing, they got to play them. I think they got to play LSU also. It's a tough schedule for them. Tough schedule. And of quarterback is going to be the key. Quarterback is going to be the key. And but anyway, that's the story. And remember to like and subscribe. I'll be a little bit earlier with my content here in the next few weeks. Now I got a little few of the bugs worked out, but we're gonna end this show, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next show. And it's the ShallowCross Sports Network. We're out.